Back to contemporary black voices were a hot topic. But before we go into the hot topic, we have to give the respect to our producer slash dictator, Carl Booker. None of this would be possible without Carl. Don't we all agree with
Yes,
Yeah,
yes.
absolutely.
that? He's a man every day, every hour. And he's doing great things in this community. I just wish sometimes this community would appreciate him more than what they do. But anyway, hot topic. Well, Bill Cosby is back in the news because he once again is being sued by, I think, 9 new folks claiming that he sexually abused them. And last year he did settle with the lady out in California. And so now that he settled with that, well, in fact, the jury decided in her favor and they awarded her so much money. So now they're coming back out of the woodwork. In fact, I saw the other day one lady's 80 years old, and I'm not knocking people 80, though. I'm there too. But 80 years old. So I think her claim goes back to what 1970, and so what Sharon, what do you think about that? Let me go to you first. What do you think about this?
What we're seeing are some states like California, I think Nevada, where they are changing the rules on statute of limitation to where now there is no statute of limitation on sexual assault. So you're going to have all these women and probably men later on coming out saying that something happened in 1969, 1950, 1940, 1970, to where it almost looks ridiculous that we're hearing about these encounters now. But I'm questioning Bill Cosby's legal team because it seems to me that some of this could have been taken care of a long time ago, to where he and Camille, I'm going to throw her in there also, could have shut this down to where there were no more charges. But now we're going to probably hear stuff out of other states like New York. They changed this no statute of limitation for Trump. So we might as get ready to hear other states where women are sitting around their breakfast tables remembering an encounter that they had back in, a long time ago.
And I agree with you. I agree with you 100% because Bill, in my opinion, the question I ask is, should we feel sorry for Bill? Okay. And my answer right now is no, because of what you just talked about his legal team. If Bill has not protected his assets and his family and everything else, why are we here? There's something that's gone wrong within his organization where his house, his money, all of his assets should be in some kind of trust that nobody can get to. He should file bankruptcy and then be able to say, hey, all you women have at it, okay? Because I ain't got nothing. But he's not there yet. So my question becomes is, do we feel sorry for Bill? Because Bill should know better. And Bill's legal team, he's got enough money to be able to have people to, quote unquote, think for him. And something's not happening.
Let me ask you.
Yes.
Do you think that they're passing these laws on extending the charges specifically for Bill Cosby?
I think so. Now, of course, you have some other characters out there that it could be extended for, but Bill is in a highly vulnerable position right now. And if he's worth, for example, $400 million, and he and Camille were told, and I'm just speculating, that if you just write a check for $100 million, you can make this go away. So, okay, they write a check, they make it go away with some written guarantees. They still have $300 million and probably some other investments.
Still coming in.
But now that you got these 9 women, one being Janice Dickerson, who already said under the criminal case that she lied for a book. So how is she able to lie for a book, get get discredited, but all of a sudden she looks angelic for a civil trial. And there's supposedly 60 other women. So, okay, let's just play with some numbers. If all 60 women ask for $10 million, that's $600 million. So now that $100 million that could have been said, that could have been put into whatever to take care of all this stuff in the beginning, now they only have 300 million. You got 600 million. They're bankrupt. I really think that the Cosbys should have just packed up and moved out the country.
Moved out. Let's go back to your point. You don't think he took care of business?
No.
I can't.
And I think and I think as ugly as he is, he should be able to.
There you go. We don't want to get personal.
Well, no, I only said that for emphasis. But my point is that this is a guy, in my opinion, that did not have to go through this for sex. Okay. And my point is that women especially, I'm not so sure if it's the same with men, but women, if you got a lot of money, you look good. And and that's my point. I've seen a lot of famous people who I don't think are quote unquote attractive, but their money makes them look attractive.
Well, let's talk about that. Why would he have to drug these women to have sex? Because, I mean,
It's got to be a mental thing.
It seems though, man, they would have. There's a lot of women out there have sex just
Right.
hopefully that he
Right.
could help them
Right.
to the next.
Right.
Help them to the next level.
Right.
And I think that's was happening a great deal. But Caleb, you want to chime in here? You had some comments you want.
No, I mean, I'm curious. I know the states are changing the statute of limitations, but I'm just curious how that's going to work out when you change the statute of limitations, but you don't have any physical evidence. There's no rape kit. There's no. So I'm wondering. So it just when you change that, it's his word against theirs, and they're able to do these civil suits.
Well, what they're trying to do is like what happened to President Clinton. Remember, the first lady claimed that he exposed himself in. Well, that was his word against their word. What they needed was backup, and that's what the other lady gave them when she claimed that he,
Blue dress.
with the dress. That substantiated the other
Right.
story. So what they're doing is the more the merrier.
Right.
And it makes it legitimate.
Kind of like what they just got Trump on with his civil suit.
Right.
They had more women coming in and testifying and stuff like that.
Exactly.
But as a woman, I think that we have to start speaking up sooner because you have one of these women is 80-something years old. Now, if I was sitting on the jury, I wouldn't be saying it didn't happen, but I would also question, is she looking at this as an opportunity to fund her Social Security, to supplement her Social Security as
Right.
well? Because you're 1969, and now you're bringing up something?
Yeah.
But to me, this is like going to Las Vegas. Okay, you're rolling the dice and you're seeing what happens. If you roll the dice and you roll a 7, okay, whether the 7 is on your first roll and it's good, you got money for your Social Security or whatever. But if you roll again and you roll that 7 and you're out, they ain't lost nothing.
And I don't think they're going to, and the chances of winning have gotten much better because of what the legislature has done. They passed a law saying, well, if it happened in 1969, you can still sue. And then the abundance of women makes your chances of winning better. And they're going to take what happened in L.A. That lady won her case and was awarded money. And that's when it all started coming back.
And so, so for a civil suit, I know it's a different standard. So it's not a reasonable doubt standard, right? It's a completely different standard for a civil suit. So I mean, so the deck is really stacked against.
Against Cosby.
Against Cosby.
So
And again, he needed to protect himself because he's in that position. You've seen this with OJ, where they wanted to go back and not only get what they could get monetarily from OJ, but they wanted to make sure that his Heisman Trophy, all of his stuff, and whatever that they had, that they could take that stuff from him and be able to cash that in and get money.
So,
I kind of disagree with you on that. I think he's protected himself well. He's not a dumb man.
Well, then, if
No.
that's the case, there's nothing for these women to get.
Well, yeah, there is something.
What? He owns nothing.
What do you mean he owns nothing?
I'm saying if he put everything, his home, his assets, and his money into a trust, and he filed bankruptcy, he has nothing.
Right.
So there's nothing that they could get. And if he's protected himself, like you're saying that he's protected himself, then I'm saying there's nothing for them to get.
I believe that he's protected himself, and I think, I'm not sure, but I don't think you could do that because that'll be trying to hide.
Right, you're hiding your asset, and then
Hide
the
your
judge can break a trust.
It ain't-
The judge can break it and award money from it, and then they could also go after Camille's asset because they're still married. So it's a joint asset. So he couldn't kind of put it in Camille's name and hide it. I mean, there's ways he could hide it, but I'm not gonna. But there's ways, but just like a judge can break a trust and take it. But I mean, I imagine his. I would imagine somebody with that kind of wealth and with the amount of attorneys that he and the quality of attorneys that he would have around him would probably have a reasonable asset protection plan in place for him.
If he had said, I'm selling my house to the trust, okay? And he got some money, and he took that money, and then he says, I'm going to put that in that money that we got in the trust for my children, okay? That they can get it. Now, he's the trustee, but they are the beneficiaries. So the court, if you're saying that they could break the veil of a trust,
Yeah, they can break
okay,
the trust.
I don't know how they would be able to do that.
if he
Even-
did,
right.
if he all of a sudden did it now.
If he did, even if he did, yeah, especially if he did it now. And so, before these lawsuits, when he knew they were coming, he could have transferred.
That's my point.
Assets
That's my point.
to his. I don't. And I've heard the conversation about about him not transferring into his daughter's name or something like that, or giving her
Her inheritance.
Her inheritance and stuff. So I mean that, but I mean for him not to do that, I'm just gonna assume that Mr. Cosby and his attorneys they have another plan in place.
And I'm going to assume the same thing because I don't view him as a dumb man.
No.
Because he's very smart.
Yeah.
And because he somehow he got control of all the other shows making money off that he helped get started.
Yeah.
So he's not a dumb man.
No.
But
You-
we're
by
getting
far.
late on time.
Right. So,
What do you feel that this is okay for these women to do this? This is more of a subjective,
right.
objective kind of thing.
I'm looking at it from a different angle also. Is this still punishment for his wanting to buy NBC? And so, you one of them type of. So we're just going to keep whipping that behind until you go broke.
And he had the ability to buy it too.
Right.
He-
Which again speaks to his intelligence and his
yeah, acumen.
so his business acumen. Yeah.
And see, if you start looking at it from a different angle, Michael Jackson got killed, but he was almost in position to buy Sony, but he also owned the Beatles catalog. Prince had his masters. A lot of other black artists who owned their masters mysteriously died. So, although Cosby is alive, I can't help but see a correlation between his wanting to buy NBC and then all these women all of a sudden coming out of everywhere saying that they were sexually assaulted.
And I agree with your assessment, 100%.
Okay.
Subjectively, I just want so subjectively, it's me growing up in that generation. It's hard for me to separate the man from the character, and so again, I'm one of the people who will be, and not to disparage the women, not to discredit the women, and I hope the ones who are assaulted, I hope they do truly find justice. As far as Cosby, as far as his image, as far as his portrayal, he was a father figure to an entire generation. There's an entire generation that grew up on the Huxtables. There's an entire generation who grew up on his work, and who he gave a vision to an entire generation who aspired to be that, to have that kind of lifestyle. He was so his work inspired an entire generation. His work with the different world brought historically black colleges to the forefront. That was an inspiration to generations of people who want to attend those institutions. And so again, it's hard for me to separate the man from his art. And
Okay. Let's each of you do you think that he still is a good role model like he was before all this happened? And if he's not, was this a deliberate plan by the people in control to break that image of him? Start with you, Tim.
well, you in order to you have to assassinate his character in order to disparage his work.
Okay.
And so that's a tried and true tactic. We saw it with Dr. King. We saw it with a lot of other prominent African American people. So you really you have to kill his character first.
Okay. Sharon?
Just like Caleb, I can see the shows. I can, I grew up on Fat Albert, then the Cosby Show, then A Different World. I can still see those shows with ease. Do I like the situation that he's in? No. I can still listen to R. Kelly's music. Do I like the situation that he's in? No. So I can do a mind shift between the person and the art. And I think that, again, this is a character assassination on him 100%.
Okay. Mr. Dawkins.
First of all, I don't know if you're going to give me an opportunity to speak again or not. So I want to say Happy Father's Day to everybody.
Oh, okay.
Okay. So, in case Fred cuts me off. So, anyway, as it relates to Cosby, I'm not going to have any more feelings from a good standpoint for Cosby, because I'm hoping that what Caleb and Fred has said is that he has protected himself. And if he's protected himself, then there should be no problem with these women. They do whatever they do, whether he's got insurance or whatever it may be, but he needs to have some kind of protection. And if he doesn't have that protection, then I'm saying, so be it. Sorry, Mr. Cosby, you had the opportunity to do so and did.
Okay. Well, it's been a good show today. I think it's been a great show. And I hope our viewers feel the same way. And we will be back with you next week. But in the meantime, remember, we are telling our story, our way, at Contemporary Black Voices.
Yes.